no matter
Good. Oh, sweet. There we go. Let me unmute Shreyas. Are you guys getting an echo? Shit.
I'm trying to actually use the camera on my phone. That's why you saw two cameras earlier.
Didn't know you're fine. Can you guys hear me now?
Sometimes this thing kind
Yeah, I'm good.
a little, not too. Yeah.
Are you boys getting an echo? Is that just on my end?
I don't have an echo.
Alright, let me see if I can figure out what's causing it. Oh. Bet you there's.
And in 30 minutes, so I have to step out early to take care of something. So just
There we go. I figured it out. Okay. That's a lot better. We should be live. Okay, that'll work, I guess, for the layout for the thing. That's fine. If I extend it, nope, that's not what I want. Okay, good enough. This is a new program that I'm attempting this week, and not a huge fan of everything, but it's free, so we take those. And yeah, this week was an interesting one in the NFL. We saw some playoff races change up. We saw some teams that should have won lose, and we saw some teams that nobody expected to win this week. So it's very interesting, and the playoff race, especially in the NFC, is very much heating up.
Yeah, everyone was debating on whether who's going to get that seventh seed in the NFC. It looks like Josh Dobbs might have just secured it for Minnesota, but it's still up there. There's a number of teams that can get it. Well, my pick right now would be Minnesota.
Because, it's looking like Minnesota's will be getting that final playoff spot. Atlanta at this point, you can just play themselves out of the playoff race, and Arthur Smith's seat seems to be getting hotter and hotter as the week goes by.
That's fair. All right, boyos. I'm going to pull up our tier list here. And I just realized you guys probably can't see it, so let me think of a good way to share it with you guys. Oops. Yeah.
I think you can screen share, right?
Yeah, I should be able to. Let me just take a look here. All right, OBS is good enough, so the live stream can see it. The next question is, how do I show you guys this? Full window. It's not what I wanted. What would be a good way of doing this? I'm trying to think. Did not think this one out. Okay, let's see. If I do this, share.
I didn't even know the stream site would require a paying membership.
That's not what I want. I mean, it's not right on OBS. I have a way to do it. Here. Let me I will do this. I will screenshot it and paste it into the Discord, and then we can just kind of discuss and move things around. Unfortunately, I will find a better way of doing this though next week, because where is the thing? Come on.
I did see the screen earlier. I was just
download image. This. Come on. Oh, can I copy it? Come on. Okay, it should be shared in the Discord. Thank Christ. Alrighty, and it's on stream and everything looks nice. Perfect. All right, so starting with our Thursday night game, I don't think we learned much other than the Panthers are trash, the Bears are still trash, and yeah, the Bears are definitely getting number one and maybe like number 3 at this point.
Yeah, not much to talk about with that game. I had no interest in watching it whatsoever.
You could argue that game. Yeah, but you could argue that game was actually a must-win for the Bears because they needed the Panthers to lose for them to get that number 1 overall pick. Keep making the Panthers worse. And the Bears took care of business there. You could tell they had that little extra edge to them.
Yes, that is a good point.
Boys, if you're the Bears, do you have enough faith that if you trade out of the number 1 spot, that you could build a great team with like 3 top picks in this draft with Justin Fields?
I think so. I think you take that risk. You look at quarterback needy teams. You can say the Jets probably might need a backup quarterback because I think they're slowly going to lose. They're slowly losing faith in Zach Wilson. Maybe the Raiders could have a need at quarterback eventually. You never know. You look at teams like the Vikings, possibly. What if they decide to move on? Kirk Cousins could have a quarterback as well. It's just you never know in the NFL these days.
I would replace Justin Fields with the kid from USC, because I don't believe in Justin Fields. I really don't. I don't think he has what it takes. I don't think he has it. I think he's gonna end up becoming a backup. He's like kind of like the next same tier as maybe like a Kenny Pickett, where it's like they're replacement level quarterbacks who's not really. I don't see him developing into anything more than that.
That's fair. I just think based off what we've seen with the Lions, I think the better way to go is build up those trenches with a okay quarterback than grab a great quarterback with no team around him.
Mm-hmm. Seems like it.
Well, Jared Goff is playing a lot better than okay, but yeah, I definitely agree with that philosophy.
Alrighty, boyos. So we can leave Panthers and Bears where they stand. What was our first game? Oh, our Germany game. Did you boys wake up early to watch that?
Don't even waste my time. Not wasting a time of the day to watch that.
You were a smart man.
That was funny what they did to Mac Jones. Just like pull him right before he was able to run the full 2-minute drill.
I mean,
did you guys? Yeah, that was great.
It's funny. People want to talk
Although
bad
I
about
find it
Belichick.
really funny. Oh, go ahead, Shreyas.
It's funny. People want to talk bad about Belichick. But Tyler Man managed to win, 10 games with Mac Jones and make the playoffs his first year is beyond me. I think, if anything, it might add more to his legacy. Just being honest.
That just feels so long ago, I'm not going to lie to you.
Seriously. Why does it feel like Mac Jones has been in the league for 2 seconds, but also 10 years?
Because he already has.
Did you guys see that shit where they pulled him out and put in Zappy?
What's up?
Yeah, Bill O'Brien got up in his face.
You guys saw they sat Mac Jones for Bailey Zappy, and then Zappy pulls a fucking far
fake
move.
spike, throw it into quadruple coverage.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that thing. New England's looking like a bigger disaster as the weeks go on.
Yeah, I find it so interesting. The Colts sit at 5-5 and actually have a shot at a wild card spot. Cannot. What a disaster
they got a
that
good
game
coach
was, though.
up there in Indianapolis.
What was that?
They got a good coach over there in Indianapolis.
Oh, yes, Eagles fans know it. We've been suffering without him.
Look what happened. He's looking like he's been his last head coaching gig.
Mm-hmm. I think I don't know. What is their schedule looking like? Are the Colts a potential just miss team?
I think so when I look at it.
Let's see. They play the Bucks, Titans, Bengals, Steelers, Falcons, Raiders, Texans. Ugh.
I mean, I see they should be able to roll off 3 wins, and then they'll be fighting for 4 wins. They might finish 8-9, 9-8. I don't think they'll be good enough to get you in the playoffs in the AFC.
Yeah, so we'll leave them in just the South. Okay, that's fine. Next up, then we have. Oh, Shreyas, you want to tell us all about the Ravens?
I might. You see, people are still going to be super pissed off. Literally after the game ended, I was like, I know how this is going to go. Everyone's going to look at Lamar Jackson and be like, oh, well, look, he had 2 turnovers in the second in the game, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and I'll admit, one of those turnovers was kind of like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck are you doing? But the second turnover, I looked at it, I'm like, it was just everything that could have went wrong for the Ravens just did. Defensive lineman tips it, it's like in the air for like 5 seconds. And the guy just happens to pick it and go right to the end zone for a pick six. I mean, it was just what can go wrong will go wrong. People want to just give it to Lamar Jackson. Oh, he did this, did that. I mean, I look at the defense. I mean, you're the best defense you're probably the best defense in football. I don't care what level quarterback I don't care what level you're playing, high school, rec league, college, or whatever. How do you allow a quarterback in the second half of a football game to complete a perfect passer rating? Deshaun Watson did not miss a single pass. He was perfect on all of his passing attempts. Was perfect 13 for 13. How do you let that happen? That's what I got to look at. I look at this defense. It's just, how do you let that happen? It's just, that's not acceptable. I mean, am I too worried about it? Not really. I mean, I wasn't expecting much against a division rival. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, We won one game in their stadium, and they won a game in ours. I mean, end of the day, Ravens are still a second seed, still have a good shot at the first seed. But it's just I don't understand how that I think these adjustments need to really be looked at. I mean, the offense. I don't know how Keaton Mitchell, I think, got like one touch after those two big plays he made. One with the running touchdown and the other one with the big receiving. Got like one or two touches in the rest of the game. How does that happen? I don't understand it. So I mean, I don't. Hopefully these things get fixed. I mean, John Harbaugh did announce today or yesterday that Keaton Mitchell will see an increased workload. So I guess he's probably figuring out he should utilize him more. But it's just a lot of things. I'm just wondering. It's like, how do you this stuff shouldn't be happening this part of the season? But at the end of the day, the Ravens are still a second seed. Have a good shot for the first seed, and that's all I can say.
That's fair. I think the Ravens personally, this basically confirms all the suspicions people had about them. Like, I think they're a great team, but I don't know if they're a Super Bowl contender because when you get in these close games that you're going to see in the playoffs, this team somehow finds a way to lose. And that's what concerns me. They have the talent to beat great teams. We saw against the Seahawks. We saw it against the Lions. It just, if you get in one of these close games against a tough team where they're going to be in come playoff time, I don't have the confidence that they're going to win.
We got to see playoff Lamar in the second half of a regular season game. I've never been more excited in my life. Love playoff Lamar.
Also, if Deshaun Watson, Jesus Christ, if Deshaun Watson can look like Deshaun Watson in that second half the rest of the season, the Browns should have no problem going to the playoffs.
Deshaun Watson won't look like that for the rest of the season, I'm going to be honest with you. There's no way. That was just a Ravens collapse.
Fair. I still think they're a wild card team. Easy.
At this point, I mean, you have to move the Ravens down to division instead of Super Bowl. Minimum.
I agree with that.
If anything, the Ravens might mess around and lose the division because Pittsburgh has the tiebreaker over them. So depending how the rest of the season plays out, it's a possibility.
Yeah, and the Browns as well could get there because they all have the same amount of losses now, right?
Well, since he's a
The
game,
Ravens have one extra win, I think, because they haven't had a bye week yet.
your bye week is late this year, like week 13 or something like that.
It's after Sunday night.
Oh wow, this upcoming week means so much to the division. Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers, Browns.
Exactly. If the Ravens beat the Bengals might mess around and miss the playoffs because they'd be
Well,
at
they
5-5.
already are out of the playoffs right now because Houston has them, and Houston's right now that last wild card team.
That's true. Houston right now is beating South Cincinnati.
Yeah. Let's talk about that game. CJ Stroud looks
Houston's
legit.
just so young. They make this.
Well, I do think we got to talk about CJ Stroud in the
looked
MVP
legit,
conversation. We do got to talk about him in the MVP conversation, I think.
I don't think
I want to
so.
look at
I
the
think you
Texans and Bengals upcoming schedule because I think the Texans have a shot at stealing that spot from them. We talked about this a couple weeks ago where this game could very much matter for the rest of the season when it comes to playoffs. So let's look. Bengals have the Ravens next, and then who do they have after that? They have the Steelers, Jaguars, Colts, Vikings, Steelers, Chiefs, and Browns.
See, that's why
that has potential to be horrible.
That slow start from the Bengals where they lost game that they should have won against Tennessee, I think was one, and should have won at Cleveland, and they played Baltimore, whatever it was. They started off 0-3 or 1-3 at the time, right? And that slow start, they're not going to be able to bounce back from it just because of their strength of schedule. I think they might actually miss the playoffs altogether.
Right. And here's the Texans. They have the Cardinals. Now, with Kyler, who knows? You have the Jags. You have the Broncos. The Jets. The Titans, Browns, Titans, and Colts.
Yeah,
If
I
you had
mean,
to, and they have the same record right now. If you had to bet who's going to make the playoffs out of those two teams, I'd take the Texans every single time.
the problem is the Texans are just such a young team. It's hard to kind of just pick them to be able to make the playoffs in that first year with a rookie quarterback or rookie head coach, as opposed to a team that's literally been to a Super Bowl with this core.
I agree with you, but the schedule is not even close.
Yeah, but I feel like the Texans, being so young, they might lose some games that they should win. Like, we already saw that happen against Carolina. I could see them dropping, some of their divisional games. And even the Broncos have looked better as of late. They might actually mess around and win that game. Denver.
That's true. All right, we'll check back in with the Bengals and Texans next week then. Although I think the Texans have earned an upgrade from South to just miss at the very least.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's see what's next. 14, actually, yeah, we can do that one. 49ers, Jaguars.
I mean, I don't think it's much to really. They got Trent Williams back. That's all. Not much.
I think you got to move the 49ers up to a Super Bowl contender.
I agree with that. Do we think the Texans could steal the division from the Jaguars?
I doubt
Don't
it.
think so. Because when I look at the Jaguars, I expect better, honestly, than their record says. I expect Trevor Lawrence to play better than how he has played, but I just
Trevor
don't think.
Lawrence really hasn't been generational because he was first
No.
overall pick. He had so much hype, even while he was in college. He was a sophomore in college. As this guy's going to be worth tanking for, he's going to be generational. He's been pretty good. He's been very good at times, but he's
that's
not
not
been
worth it.
generational.
No.
I mean, last year was kind of like what we saw could be, and then we expected it to come forward, but it really hasn't.
All right,
Yeah,
so this is what the Jaguars are looking at. You have the Titans twice. Once is this upcoming week, and then the last game of the season. So the Titans really matter, actually, for both the Texans and the Jags. Then they play the Texans head-to-head. Bengals, Browns, Ravens. 3 very hard games in a row. And then you have the Bucks and Panthers, and then you finish with the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, usually the Jaguars, they end stronger than they start. So I think they could, I think they have the division on lock. I really do. I think they'll flex at least the last 3 games minimum. They'll get 3 wins in a row to make it. They should be able to take at least 1 out of the 3 AFC North games. And then they should be able to beat Tennessee. It just comes down to that Houston game. But at this point, I think
that
the Jaguars
head-to-head
are
is going to matter.
Exactly, yeah.
Alrighty, let's see. We have Packers Steelers. Ali, talk to us about this horrible game.
This game was not horrible, first of all. The Steelers got into the end zone on their first 2 drives. There was some life to them. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren actually looked like a very good 1-2 combo, both of whom getting, over 4 or 5 yards a carry, 80-plus yards, 100-plus for Jalen Warren, each of them getting a touchdown. Very good committee at running back. And it looks like the Steelers got back to power run football as opposed to that zone running scheme that Matt Canada was trying to implement. And we saw the difference. Also wanted to deeply apologize to the Packers and the Packers fans because they did, I admit it, they got screwed at the end of the first half. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a play where it was very clearly a lateral at the end of the first half, but it was whistled dead on the field because they thought it was a forward pass. Clear recovery by Green Bay, and they scored. Problem was the referee blew the whistle before there was a clear recovery. And Gene Steratore got in the air and he said, "Oh, well, according to my 55-year-old, man eyes, blah, 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 my experience, Gene Steratore is the most annoying man on TV. I'm not going to lie to you. And someone needs to get this guy off the air. He's the worst."
Collinsworth, come on, shut up. You watch Sunday Night Football. It's Chris
Gene
Collinsworth.
Steratore is the worst man on TV, and this man needs to be kicked off the air. He's hella biased. He's always siding with the refs on TV. even when they're clearly wrong, like we saw this game against the Steelers, Packers-Steelers, where it was pretty obvious what happened. They went to the booth, and the refs got together and they said, wow, we screwed up. This should have been a Green Bay touchdown, but we can't give them the touchdown anymore. So we'll just say the play stands as a forward pass, even though everyone could see that it was a lateral. But you know what? I'll take the wins where we can get them. Second half, the offense definitely faded. That the defense forced, there's some sacks, turnovers. The Steelers are 31st in terms of yards per game defensively this season. But everyone says this defense is winning them games. This defense is winning them games. It's because this defense is able to make the splash plays when it matters. Sacks, turnovers, that's their bread and butter. It's their recipe for success, and it's working. And I understand that as soon as Minkah Fitzpatrick gets hurt, the secondary forgets how to act. I mean, I saw that happen live. The last 2 games, they got shredded by Will Levis and Jordan Love back-to-back. Both of them have been streaky, to say the least. But the Steelers defense got shredded. Levi Wallace should not be on an NFL roster. I'm putting that out there. This dude's a certified scrub. But, yeah, at the end of the day, they were able to pull off a win while getting outgained again. That's all 9 games this season the Steelers have been outgained in, yet they have a winning record. First time since 1940 that's ever happened. So I'll take it where I can get it. And honestly, if the Steelers commit to running the football, taking the ball out of Kenny Pickett's hands, because he's kind of a disaster still, then I can see us easily becoming a playoff team, if not a division winner, depending on Baltimore, the last week of the season against Baltimore in Baltimore.
It's not far-fetched to say that Pittsburgh could win the division. I mean, it's not far-fetched to say even I think every team in that division will split the head-to-head. It's not far-fetched to say at this point.
Yeah, but I think the Steelers are going to need to win at Baltimore Week 18 if they want to have a chance at a division.
With how it's looking, I'm predicting Pittsburgh will beat the Browns. It's looking like that Week 18 is likely leading to an AFC North championship matchup. That's how it's looking to. The winner takes the division.
Getting in the wild card, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't know if it will depend on the home field advantage or not, or the second seed. I don't know where the records will be at that time. But it's looking like this could potentially be that situation we're looking at.
All I know is if I have to watch a Steelers NFC South Super Bowl, I'm going to shoot myself.
I'm just rooting for a draw, first ever Super Bowl draw.
Honestly, NFC South and Steelers might be the worst Super Bowl of all time.
Unless George Pickens isn't making sexy plays, then I'm not watching it.
Seriously, this might be the first one I have to avoid. And I sat here as an Eagles fan, watched Brady play against Eli twice.
No, the worst was Brady versus the Rams in 2019.
Okay, that one was just boring, but it wasn't torture necessarily in the sense of both teams.
Fair point.
Speaking of the NFC South, the Saints losing to Josh Dobbins in the Vikings, and I'm pretty sure the Vikings are getting a wild card spot. I don't think there's any team in the NFC that is challenging the Seahawks, Cowboys, or Vikings at this point. The Packers are trash. The Rams are too far back. And the only team that might have a shot is the Commanders, or maybe the Cardinals if they go on a winning streak for the rest of the season.
No. Not a chance.
It wouldn't take the Falcons or the Saints to get hot. It would take a full-blown Vikings collapse for the Vikings to not make the playoffs.
At this point, yeah. At this point.
I think they're going to get Justin Jefferson back still.
Funny fact, they are 1-4 with Justin Jefferson this season and are undefeated without him.
Well, but that was because of their horrible luck. I mean, they were 1-4, and their one win came from Kirk's worst game of the season, and their 4 wins, Kirk balled out of his mind. So,
Listen, they teach you like in statistics class, correlation doesn't always mean causation. So this is just an example of that.
That is true.
Could you guys think there's any chance the Vikings could threaten the Lions for the division?
No.
No, I think Detroit's just overall a better team.
That's fair. Oh, Jesus Christ. The Lions have the Bears next week?
Oh, boy.
Ugh.
That's one game I won't be watching.
Alrighty, boyos. Titans, Buccaneers. And this was unexpected. I did not expect the Titans to look this bad. I really thought once they benched Tannehill, Levis was going to look good, and he was not good this game. 19 for 39, 199 yards, and an interception. And the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield looking like they might be able to steal that division away from the Saints now.
Yeah, I expected big things out of Will Levis. I thought that guy after the Steelers game, I thought Will Levis looked like the dude. Like I thought he could become an elite NFL quarterback. Then you see the way Jordan Love played against the Steelers, and it's like, hey, maybe the Steelers just make anybody look like elite NFL quarterbacks.
Not Lamar Jackson. That's one of the wide receivers that one fucking game.
Lamar Jackson did his job that game, all right? That was Nelson Aguilar who forgot how to use his hands.
Don't forget Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews. Like this is how they were catching the ball like this. They were trying to catch it like this. Like you would catch a good You're supposed to catch it like this. Like
I'm looking at their schedules. If the Saints don't make the playoffs, they screwed up. They have the Falcons, who they better beat if they want to make it. The Lions,
the Saints always fit with the Falcons.
They're going to get killed. But then they have the Panthers, the Giants, the Rams. Then they go head-to-head against the Bucs, and then the Falcons again. Meanwhile, the Bucs are looking at the 49ers, Colts, Panthers, Falcons, Packers, Jaguars, Saints, and Panthers. So, I mean, I guess if the Saints mess up enough, the Buccaneers could catch, but they are win behind, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how long Derek Carr is out for. I know he just has a concussion, but you can't win games with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston had the most Jameis Winston type game the other day, where he just like threw the ball across the field, all across his body. He did everything wrong. And one time it worked out for a touchdown, and the second time it worked out as an interception. That's what you're gonna get out of Jameis Winston. You'll have crazy plays that result in touchdowns and crazy plays that result in interceptions. That's not sustainable in the NFL.
Fair. Who's your favorite for that division, Ollie?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of like Baker to get it done. I kind of like the Buccaneers, but I think the Falcons have probably the best team personnel-wise. They're being really held back right now by Arthur Smith, so I don't think they're going to be an actual playoff contender. So you have to really think Buccaneers or Saints. And you can't really go wrong with either one that you pick. Both of them are kind of the same level team, same level coaching.
Let's continue the trend of just switching them out each week.
Yeah, why not?
All right, Saints moving to the South, Bucks going to division. Next week, Falcons, you'll be division probably. All right, speaking of the Falcons, actually, Falcons-Cardinals, Kyler Murray is back, and I'm excited for it. I've always liked Kyler. I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be. He's kind of like a discount Josh Allen in a sense. That's kind of get the vibe I get from him. He's mobile. He's going to make those throws where you go, why'd he do that? But then he's going to have games where he just steals you wins here and there.
Yeah, definitely. That's Kyler Murray for you. He's more of a small Josh Allen, like a mini Josh Allen, as opposed to a Walmart Josh Allen. But yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the Cardinals aren't really going to be, relevant towards the playoff push or anything like that. They're still going to be. Maybe we move them up a tier from where are they now? Instead of watch film Kyler, because he clearly did watch his film this week, and we just move him up to regular bad.
I'd agree with that. Let's do it. Alrighty. We will delete a row then. Oh my goodness, we have one less row on the tier list. Yeah, there wasn't much with this game other than the Falcons purely being the Falcons and losing a game they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, what was next? What was our next game? We had Lions Chargers. Now, I don't know if you got to watch this one, but this was a fantastic game if you like offense. If you like defense, you were probably screaming the entire game because, my God, neither of these teams had a good defense this week.
I mean, the Chargers have always, they've sucked defensively all season. They've always underperformed, even with guys like Khalil Mack and Bosa. They can't seem to do anything right. But I was just telling this to Shreyas the other day, actually. When it comes to Detroit, Aiden Hutchinson has really disappointed me. Every time I watch a Lions game, he's not doing anything useful. And if you look at his stats, he has 4 sacks this entire season. He's not in the top 20 in terms of sack leaders. And he was supposed to be their bookend, generational pass rusher, 2nd overall pick. Many people thought he should have gone 1st overall out of college. He hasn't lived up to the billing at all. And in terms of Detroit, I don't think they're good enough defensively with a bad Aiden Hutchinson to do anything in the playoffs to become a playoff, like an actual Super Bowl contender.
I pretty much fully agree with that. I will say, I think the Chargers are at a point in the season with how many other teams in the AFC are going for a playoff spot. I think they might just need to be moved down to Payne.
Yeah, I mean, without our good friend, former colleague, Jess Saban, may he rest in peace here, I think we're going to have to, no one here to vouch for the Chargers. Move the Chargers down to Payne. Why not?
Wait, never mind. I just looked at their schedule. They're the Packers. That should be a win.
Mm-hmm.
Although if they lose that, Payne. Ravens, that's probably a loss. Patriots, again, that should be a win. But if you lose that, Payne. Broncos twice. Both those should be wins.
No, Broncos have been getting better, and they split with the Broncos both last year and the year before.
I understand, but if you're looking to be a playoff team, you should beat the Broncos, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, fine, we'll give them that.
Raiders, you should win that game. Doesn't mean they will. And then they had the Bills, which with how the Bills have looked, and you want to make the playoffs, you should win that game. They probably don't. And then they have the Chiefs, which they're gonna kill them.
I legitimately think the Chargers could go 4-4 down the stretch based on how I calculated that.
Yeah.
Which I don't think will give them a playoff spot.
If they want to make the playoffs, they're gonna have to go 6-2.
Yeah, to just even have an outside chance to make it, because there could be more teams that finish with 11-10 wins.
Right. So I'm saying that they deserve Payne because I don't think they're gonna even get close.
Yeah.
All right, Chargers fans, you go back down to Payne. I know that's where you're used to being, so it's fine.
That's how I think the Raiders should be, because that's how every loss hasn't been different ways. It's been the same way since 2021. Every loss has been the exact same. It's been Payne. Blowing leads, and finding the same agonizing way of losing.
Justin Herbert needs to get out of there if he wants to have any happiness after he retires.
Yes, I agree, as much as I've been critical of the guy.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Speaking of Payne. Giants, Cowboys. I'm almost ready to put the Giants down in depressed Panther tier. Good Lord. That defense is horrible. And the funny thing is, when that game started, I believe the Cowboys were up 7-0, and then Dak throws a pick, and the Giants are about to score. And it looks like, okay, they pretty much were gifted a touchdown here by the Cowboys. Maybe this will be a slightly close game. I then check back at the score, and the Giants still have 0 points. I have no idea what happened, but somehow the Cowboys put up a bunch of points, and the Giants didn't even score when they were this close to the end zone.
The game was. I think the offense, the play call was so bad. I think Tommy DeVito's dad. There's a clip of Tommy DeVito's dad just looking just like having his hands up, like, what the fuck are you guys doing? It's that bad in New York. I don't want to put it all on Brian Dable, but God, like I don't know if it was just his coaching mastery last year. I don't know what it was. I think it's pretty obvious that man deserved Coach of the Year just from the work he had to do with that roster. Because I don't think the roster didn't change much. It's the same roster as last year. It's just I don't know what happened this time.
Last year they overachieved. This year they're achieving, what they're supposed to be at, which isn't very good at all.
It's fair. I will say the Cowboys, with the way they are able to destroy lesser teams, except the Cardinals, it is quite impressive because so many teams play down to competition and have close games. The Cowboys don't do that this season, except for the Cardinals. So they do look like a good team, but they're probably going to lose in the playoffs again. Let's be real.
Yeah, they'll get killed by a great team.
Yeah, probably.
I think it just proves that the Cowboys, I mean, all their wins have come against very, very shitty opponents, and I don't think they're worthy of being in a top-tier team. I think I put them in, 10th, like 9th or 8th, and I might have to change that up pretty soon, but I don't think they're worthy of being a top-tier team.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. All right, Commanders Seahawks. I really thought for a second that the Seahawks are going to blow this, and we are all going to have to sit here and wonder if the Seahawks are going to be making the playoffs or not, because, oh my God, these last 2 weeks have been very bad for Seahawks fans. Geno Smith continues to be a question mark on whether he's the guy or not, and whether it was a one-year wonder or not. And Sam Howell is a similar situation of, is he the guy? Is he not the guy? Do we need somebody else? But I think it really comes down to the fact that the Seahawks are the better team, and so they end up winning out in the end, and Ron Rivera needs to retire.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I mean, the Seahawks, they're going to be able to get a wild card spot, and they're probably going to end up maybe going into Detroit where they'll have a chance, but I don't think they're actual contenders at all.
Not even.
That's how I feel about most of the teams in the NFC this year.
I think you make an order for every team. I mean, not every team has played up to par, really.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Speaking of not playing up to par, boys. Jets Raiders. Good Lord. How do you guys feel about this match?
Nope, not talking about
that. Shreyas just disappears. Ollie, what'd you think?
I honestly, it was like a matter of principle. I wasn't going to give the NFL any sort of viewership, by watching this game, so I skipped the game. I couldn't do it.
That's fair. I did not watch the game itself. I watched somebody that was commentating over the game, like in a live stream. So I just kind of watched that for a bit. Not the whole night, because that would have been torture. But yeah, Robert Saleh dying on the hill that is Zach Wilson once again after the game. And this team looks bad. The Jets cannot win with Zach Wilson. They're probably going to miss the playoffs because of it. And the Raiders also look like trash, but just less trash than the Jets. So I think they both deserve the same pain.
Yeah. I came on just to say this. And then I will just log off after because until we're done talking about this game. I want to root for Salah really badly, but I find it really hard to with the level of time this man is putting up with Zach Wilson. I mean, listen, I'm like Zach Wilson. I mean, I get it. I mean, it can't be. It's not all on him. I mean, I've seen the last play of the game. Literally, Tyler Conklin it was a great pass to Zach Wilson. Tyler Conklin had to be the one just magically playing defense and break up the pass. I mean, it's but I don't understand how much more are you going to tolerate Zach Wilson? I mean, I understand there's no one better, but this is something that should have been addressed. Really, I mean, I don't know, it's last year probably. I mean, I know they got Aaron Rodgers on the offseason, but I mean, was it worth keeping him as a backup? It's just I don't know what the Jets are doing. I mean, at this point, I mean, it's just a lost season at this point. What went from a season? Oh, can they actually make the playoffs without Aaron Rodgers? It's a lost season now. So all I got to say, let me know when we're on new game.
Yeah, I mean, Shreyas pretty much summed it up. It's a lost season for them. Rodgers, even if he somehow comes back in December, he's going to look horrible. He's not going to be able to move behind that O-line. It's just not going to go well.
Yeah, I mean, they just need to address that offensive line. And if they're out of the playoff race, Aaron Rodgers probably won't even bother coming back.
Yeah. I'm almost ready to say both these teams deserve to go down into bad, but the Raiders won, so I think it's just still pain. Although, may they deserve to leave pain now that the coach is gone. And they can just quietly go down into bad.
Yeah, I feel like that's true. So now we just got the Jets and Chargers in pain. And
yeah, although
I think the Bills are going to end up in pain when we talk about them.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, get Shreyas back, and I will start on the Broncos Bills.
I'm back.
Oh, there he is. Perfect. All right, Broncos Bills. This was an interesting one because that start of the game made this look like this was going to be brutal for the Bills. The Broncos looked like they were going to capitalize a lot early, and they just kept having to kick field goal after field goal. And it felt like they were keeping the Bills in the game, and then by the end of the game, the Bills were going to win and it would be over. And it looked like that was going to be the case when the Broncos missed that field goal at the end. But the Bills had 12 men on the field, and so the Broncos got to kick again, and they make it, and they win the game. Now, you can sit here and talk about how the officiating at the end of the game is horrible, which it was to an extent. But the Bills should have never let the Broncos into that game, and they should have been able to close it out when the Broncos had to keep settling for field goals. You cannot leave a team like that in the game for that long. You have to be able to put up points. You have to be able to get things going. You can't be turning over the ball like that. It just mistake after mistake after mistake, and they beat themselves.
I think, I mean, when you look at this game, I think it just confirms many things. Josh Allen has slowly been falling. I mean, Josh Allen's now more so becoming like a what have you done lately for me. There's attention building in Buffalo because there's no way in hell Trevon Diggs says that stuff if Stephon Diggs is expressing his feelings to his own brother. There's no way in hell Trevon Diggs is tweeting that because I think he tweeted out something today also about how Josh Allen never really was great before Stephon Diggs came in. Yep. I think he tweeted something yesterday after the game ended. It's just a massive shit show. And then obviously the breaking news today, firing Ken Dorsey along that came out. I mean, the way the season's shaping up, I mean, Sean McDermott might be out the door very soon.
Yeah, I think if they miss the playoffs, they basically redo the entire coaching staff because something has to change. Your window potentially closed after last season, and last season got derailed by things outside the game. DeMar Hamlin being one, that's going to completely mess with the mentality of the team. And so that was kind of outside of their control. And yet it felt like that was their best opportunity. And now you're looking at a team that's struggling to play a full 60 minutes. They can't win games they need to win. And hell, this is a home game. And that's how they played in front of their fans. It's just a complete disaster in Buffalo right now. And heads are going to have to roll. Now, my take on Ken Dorsey, I do think he's a bit of a fall guy because I don't think it's entirely his fault. But at the same time, you have to change something. And I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I think at the end of the season, the Commanders move on from Riverboat Ron, promote Bieniemy, and then they bring in Ken Dorsey as OC. Bold prediction.
Not a far-fetched possibility. I mean, you could say Ken Dorsey was just a fall guy, but I mean, when Ken Dorsey took over, last year, wasn't it? Because Dable went to New York that right. All season. I mean, I watched Buffalo's offense. Josh Allen it just became Josh Allen, the more Josh Allen dependent. Brian Dable didn't. It wasn't like that with Brian Dable, but just seems more Josh Allen dependent. It just seems like it's the hero ball or nothing. That's what it feels like. I mean, it's either the job. It's like when Josh Allen's throwing it deep, you better pray to God Gabriel Davis is wide open, because I don't know why he doesn't use Stephon Diggs anymore now. It's just I don't get it. Like I said, it's an all around mess, and I think it's going to come to a big clash in the offseason. If they don't even make the playoffs, or let alone even have another playoff letdown, it's just gonna be a massive mess in Buffalo.
For sure. I feel bad for the fans. Those fans care so much about that team, and to see things go this way for a team that should have been Super Bowl contenders this season is really depressing.
Well, I mean, if we want to talk about Super Bowl contenders in the AFC, I mean, obviously I know you can't trust Baltimore, but who else do you say is there besides the Chiefs? Is there really anyone else that's like a bona fide Super Bowl contender, really?
I genuinely think we're going to get a Super Bowl rematch from last season.
It's not far-fetched to say that. I mean, you're likely going to have another probably Eagles-Niners NFC title rematch. Maybe the Lions might have maybe the Lions get there if all goes right, but you're probably not wrong in that regard.
They're both the 1 seeds again. It feels like the league is not at either of those teams' levels. And I know the Eagles have not looked great per se, but they're 8-1. And if you're not playing your best football and you're 8-1, by the time the playoffs roll around, they're going to be dangerous. And the last thing you need to do is treat the Eagles like underdogs when they're the 1 seed.
Well, I mean, it's also a matter of if they're going to get it together. I mean, I know for a fact when I watched the Ravens play, I mean, yeah, I know that's a game they should have won, but I mean, I'd rather lose that game probably now into the season rather than lose that in December. You know, I mean,
oh, for sure.
The Eagles in this matter, when I look at it, I look at the same thing. I think you're better off playing like this now rather than playing like this in December and having more question marks come for you and when you get to the playoffs. So that's how I look at it. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it's also something to kind of keep an eye on when you watch.
Right. I just struggled to see who could potentially knock off the Chiefs come playoff time in the AFC. I don't think there's a team that's all there that's going to be able to stay with them for a full 60.
I mean, if we're going to talk about a team that if we're going to talk about a team at full potential, we're definitely going to say the Baltimore. But what we saw on Sunday, that's why people are very doubtful of him. I understand. I've had him very high up there, but I can see why. I understand why people are doubtful of him. I mean, it's just a matter of consistency. You can see the Eagles can put up like 30+ against the Lions, and granted, yeah, they put up 30 against the Browns, but defensively they were not there that game. Second half was just a complete unwatchable. It was unwatchable that second half, offense and defensive wise. It's not just on offense, defensively too. I mean, like I said when I was critiquing the game, you don't allow Deshaun Watson to step in there and complete all of his passes in the second half. You don't. That's not acceptable.
Right. Alrighty, boyos and everybody. That's going to wrap it for this week's Pigskin Banter for Tuesday. We hopefully will be back Thursday. I know we weren't here last week based on everybody being busy, but hopefully this Thursday we will be back and we will be previewing week 11 of the NFL. Alrighty. Yep. Thank you everybody for joining us. We've been Pigskin Banter and we will see you on Thursday.